Belle is the latest film by Mamoru Hosoda, whom I can confidently say does not miss and easily continues that trend with this film. I can tell you right now that the theater is the best way to experience this film. Beautiful visuals, the music obviously is a pretty important part. I'm very happy to say it was also incredible. Definitely not on the level of Kimi no Na wa or Weathering with You, but similar to those movies, I did find myself immediately after the movie going into Apple Music and adding the soundtrack to my playlist. So the movie starts off with Suzu, who struggles with social anxiety. She can't sing in real life for reasons that I'll be discussing later on in the video in the spoiler section. But she discovers You, which is a metaverse sort of virtual reality world that is able to bring her abilities out of her. Inside the world of You, she blows up bigger than Rice Gum, Logan Paul, or any YouTuber we've yet to see in our world. And those who aren't creators may not know, but that's not an easy thing to deal with or process. It's the opposite actually. Going from a regular small town girl to being one of the most popular faces on the internet is something that drives most people insane. Though the film didn't go as deep as I would have liked it to with this topic, you can see that Belle made Suzu think less of herself, even more than before. She believes that people would never act the same way that they do towards Belle if they knew who she really was. The film even used lots of gamer lore. I was interested to see that they had scenes with MMOs and really wanted to be authentic to gaming culture and how it would look in the future, which was a good attention to detail. I like that a lot. There was some great animation choices with how they showed the lag on FaceTime. For example, they even lowered the frame rate inside of You to contrast from reality to You, so you could really tell when she's inside of the world or if she's not. It's pretty obvious, but a little attention to detail that they didn't have to add, but they did add. Assume that the movie is kind of set sort of in the future. They're able to do some really cool stuff with the technology that I'm sure will be possible in the near future. And to talk a little bit about the actual metaverse that Mamoru Hosoda created, I thought it was very interesting as we are moving right now into the metaverse. I think this film couldn't have come out at a better time. So just seeing a take on what it could look like in the near future was really interesting. I definitely really loved it. I think VR and the metaverse is going to be as huge as it was in this film as soon as it becomes accessible to the mainstream audiences. So as the film goes on, Suzu is able to gain some of her confidence back that she had lost from traumatic events in the past, from becoming Belle. You know, I think a lot of people are going to be afraid of the metaverse and virtual reality because plenty of people will be abandoning their real lives in a way in order to live out their digital lives. It's happening now. We can already see it. But I think there are going to be some positive things to take away from when virtual reality and the metaverse is actually here. We see it in the film. In the metaverse and in virtual reality already, you're able to meet so many people, have different conversations with people, and have new experiences that can potentially actually help you in real life. So I think people should definitely keep an open mind to what's to come. That's why I think this film is a good example. It does dive deep into how we've sunk into the world of social media and how toxic and how difficult it is to live in that world, but there are positive takeaways as well. Towards the middle part of the film, they introduced a Beauty and the Beast story. I thought this was a little jarring. I actually found the mystery behind the dragon's identity to be pretty interesting as it contrasted, as it related to the mystery behind Belle's identity. But we actually knew who Belle was, but we didn't actually know who this beast was. The only thing I didn't really love about it is that I don't really know where it came from. You know, it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, Belle was just kind of intrigued by the mystery of who he was, but I didn't understand where they had built up a sort of romantic relationship that they tried to tease at but didn't go far enough with. So it was a little jarring at first, and it did seem a little bit forced, especially since she had another romance going on in her real life. It seemed like a love triangle. I didn't know where the story was trying to go. But the story actually did pull it all back together in the ending, which I'm really happy to say. Where I'm going to have to now get into spoiler territory. This is your spoiler warning. I will be talking about spoilers now. So the first and biggest, probably most important part of the film was Suzu's backstory. She actually lost her mom at an early age. In the world of social media, obviously if something happens in the public eye, everyone wants to put their say so, everyone wants to comment on it, and that is kind of sort of what happened. So basically there was a kid drowning in a river, or potentially about to drown, and her mother went to save the kid, abandoning Suzu. She lost her life, and so essentially she chose the other kid's life and tried to play hero and left her own child abandoned. Obviously, if that were in the public eye, as we saw, a lot of people were able to make comments on that. You can see throughout the film that really affected Suzu throughout aging up throughout her life, and she was really intrigued in the mystery of why her mother did it. And I thought this was a really interesting backstory. Mamoru Hosoda has a really good track record of creating very good, strong female lead role characters, and this film is another great example of that. So going into the backstory of the dragon, we actually come to find out that it's just a kid who is being abused by his father. We see in the movie that the dragon has in real time injuries. So in you, it seemed to be mental and emotional trauma. In you, he actually had physical representation trauma. So towards the end of the film, is really funny and cool. Actually, they're actually live streaming. It seems like most people keep like a webcam on in the future. I'm not really sure what that's about. Suzu and the gang are actually able to track down and find the kid, and they're able to see that they have an abusive father that is just treating them poorly. And it was a really good and interesting backstory for the dragon. I really like that part of the film, and I really like that the film goes into kind of some darker elements of what's going on in the world. Mental health is very, very important, and it's becoming much more important that we address this, and we're aware of it with kids today. Like, mental health has been a very prominent theme in kids today, especially with social media, and especially going into the future with how prominent social media and VR and metaverse, all of these things are coming into reality, that we keep an eye on and address these things. And I really like that the film did that. But during the middle of the film, when Belle had the Beauty and the Beast moment with the actual beast, it seemed they were teasing at sort of like a love interest, but she also had a love interest IRL. So that was a little weird. It gave me like love triangle vibes, which I usually like, but it just didn't seem like it fit the theme of this story. I was definitely glad to see that the romance between her and the beast, or the actual character in real life, remained to be platonic, that it would remain more of like a supporter creator love relationship. There was a scene that they looked really close to kissing, and I didn't know how to feel about it. It was kind of like, if they had actually kissed in that moment, it would have just taken me out of the film. Like, I would have just been like, okay, like this doesn't really make too much sense here. So I'm definitely glad that they did not go that route. And leading into the ending, Belle's final performance was easily one of the best things that I've ever experienced in theater. I'm telling you guys, you need to experience this movie in theater. I was glued to the screen as she performed that final song, and it just felt like a culmination of emotions and build up and passion as she overcame her struggles in the end. And I don't know how anyone could have not teared up if you had been paying attention throughout the whole film. The other thing that really touched me is that the scene did a really good job of representing what it means to be a public figure that people really understand and resonate with. You know, obviously there's artists in the world, in the real world, that, you know, people would die for, people that feel so attached to them because they've helped them through dark times with their music, with their art. And all of the users just singing along with Suzu and rooting her for her and supporting her at the end. It was really, really, really touching, and it was a really good moment to end the film on. It meant a lot to me, especially as I am someone who wants to be able to experience that one day, with touching so many people around the world with my art or with my content. That scene really meant a lot to me. Yeah, to wrap this up, the movie really did have a little of everything. It had some drama, had some action, had some romance, and a really solid core theme that I really loved. It's great to see Hosoda still got this style of story down pack after his last film, Mirai, which I also did see in theaters back in 2018. While that story and that movie is great in its own right, it's definitely a step in a different direction. I think this style of story is something that he's a little bit better at. It's just something that resonates with me a lot more at my age. I'm sure that could change over time, and maybe films like Mirai will mean a lot more to me in the future since it's more about family. But films like Summer Wars, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, Wolf Children, Boy and the Beast, and this film, I think Mamoru Hosoda is cementing himself as truly one of the greatest directors of all time. And yeah, this one, it only adds to it. This film is great. I have to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Please go see it in theater. Please go support this film in theater. And if you're not going to see it in theater, purchase this film. Don't just stream it illegally. This deserves to be at the top. You know, this deserves awards and all of that. So that's gonna be it for me. Be sure to leave a like, comment what you think about this video, and subscribe to the channel if you like this form of content. This is my first, I'm starting a series called I Just Finished, where I'll be doing reviews on anime, movies, maybe even games, sort of similar to what Moist Critical does with Moist Meter. I found myself really inspired by that. So if you guys like this form of content, be sure to share this video, and that's gonna be it for me. All right, I'm gonna go.